Hello there, fellow cultists. This is DM Nell, and I'm back with another episode of Shadow Talk. This is episode 142, and this is actually take two of episode 142. Some of you may have noticed that I posted a video a couple of nights ago. Problem was that there was no audio, so yeah, that was a complete waste of time. So anyway, take two, and I can see the audio bar moving now, so I'm assuming that we have audio, but I'll find out because I'm going to actually listen to this after I'm done, like responsible podcasters do. All right, so here is what we are covering today. So for our shadow topics, there are three new products from Schwalbe Entertainment that I'd like to point out. And then our main topic is an overview of the adventure in Chapter 10 of Tales of the Demon Lord, which is called Off the Rails. But let's start with the new stuff first. So first up, we have the second part of the Return of the Witch King adventure path. The first part, Falling Tears, was released about a month ago or so. And so the second part is the first novice tier adventure. And Falling Tears was, of course, a starting tier adventure. So the first novice tier adventure is You Shall Not Take These Noble Souls. A noble adventure or novice adventure in the Return of the Witch King campaign. So let's just see what it says here. You shall not take these noble souls. Picks up a few months after the events described in Falling Tears as part of the Return of the Witch King campaign. As part of the Witch King, I can't read today, so sorry. As part of the Return of the Witch King campaign, these adventures describe a possible story of what happens when the most infamous villain in Rule's history comes back and how this return reshapes the world. Although intended as part of a campaign, you can ignore these, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we all know that. In any event, the adventure works best for 3 to 5 characters. Okay, so I have, of course, picked this up, but I have not read it as of yet. So I'm interested to see how the Return of the Witch King is introduced into this campaign, because the first adventure really didn't have any ties to the Witch King. It was basically just the escape from Tyr, and from what I read here anyway, and I think I read the intro and the adventure itself, it sounds like the second part is still refugees from Tyr trying to escape, trying to, make it into the Northern Reach or into the Low Country. But at any rate, I think it's more of that. So I'm getting the impression that this campaign is meant to be played as refugees from Tyr become the heroes of the game, not characters coming in from outside of Tyr and encountering all this stuff. But the way it's written, I think you're going to be characters that were brought up in Tyr. Were that Tyrians? Yeah, Tyrians, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, you'll be that. And of course, you could probably do it however you want to, as you can with any adventure, but that sounds like the way to go. All right, anyway, that's that. And all right, the next product we have here is Northern Reach Part 4, Lands in Shadow. So Northern Reach Part 4 continues the tour through the Emperor's last province by revealing details about Sixton. In this gazetteer, you'll find an overview of the city, its history, key figures, and a look at developments that could shape the city's future. Whether you intend to use this product for a single adventure or as a backdrop for an entire campaign, this detailed look at the Northern Reach is sure to breathe new life into the stories you tell on the edge of the Empire. I could have used this for my last Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign, because our characters did spend at least a session in Sixton, but that's all right. Better late than never. All right, and then the last thing that we have coming out from Schwalbe Entertainment this month, or so far this month, is Punk Apocalyptic Adventure. Uncomfortably Close Encounters, an expert merc adventure for Punk Apocalyptic the RPG. Uncomfortably Close Encounters unleashes a wacky sci-fi mission for veterans. Fight alien invaders with anal probes in a post-apocalyptic world in Punk Apocalyptic the RPG. All right, nice. Well, I have not played Punk Apocalyptic as of yet. I have the book. Of course, I supported it in the Kickstarter. So I've got the book and I have all of the adventures. I just don't remember where I put the book. Must be over there with my Schwab stuff. Okay, but anyway, I do have Punk Apocalyptic, but I've never actually played the game. So I do want to try it at some point, either running it or playing in it, but haven't gone around to doing that. But this sounds like a kind of like a fun one shot to do. I might run a one shot. I'm not normally big on post-apocalyptic adventures as far as it's not really the genre I like to run. So that's why I haven't really done much with or anything with punk apocalyptic or even godless for that matter. But I still would like to try it someday because it is a little bit different than Shadow of the Demon Lord. It's got 8 attributes instead of 4. So that's in and of itself different. But it looks like it could be fun to either run in or play in. But anyway, well. That's a task for a future me. Okay, so that is all of the new stuff. So let's talk some Tales of the Demon Lord. So up to this point, we have gone through all of the adventures and the preamble to the adventures. And now we're up to chapter 10, and the current adventure is Off the Rails. So this is an adventure for master characters, and I believe it's the first master tier adventure in this book. I believe the last adventure was the last adventure was the first master tier adventure. So this is the second master tier adventure in the book. And I had a lot of fun with this one. I didn't run it exactly as it's written. But that's okay. You can approach this any way you want to, as with any adventure. And so I took elements from this adventure and incorporated it into my own. But let's go through what's supposed to occur if you're running the adventure as written. So this is a story essentially about the emperor or the empire requisitioning some Iron Titans. So Iron Titans are listed at the back of the book here. Iron Titan. It's a difficulty 100 construct. It's size 5. So this is basically a mech, right? So they had the emperor has or had requisitioned Iron Titans because his orc armies were starting to become a little unreliable. And so the emperor wanted to, start backfilling orcs with Iron Titans. And so he ordered Iron Titans to be created in the city of Foundry, which is in the northern part of the Northern Reach. But then the whole shit goes down in Caicrus, and the emperor is killed by Drudge. And so Drudge takes up the mantle of emperor and ascends to the Iron Throne. Wrong game. Alabaster Throne. And so that just happens as all the events in Tales of the Demon Lord occur. This is happening simultaneously with the events that are happening in Caicrus. So the waves of repercussions are just now reaching the Northern Reach, and news of the Emperor's death and the subsequent rise of Drudge has caused orcs all over the Empire to abandon their posts, either to go do their own thing or to take up arms in the new king or the new emperor's cause. and they are essentially referred to as Drudge loyalists, which kind of doesn't make sense to me because Drudge now controls the Empire. So, um, technically he still controls all the orcs. So why would the orcs need to revolt? But I guess you could say that there are plenty of human servants and other ancestries that work for the emperor, of course, that would still be loyal to the old emperor that was assassinated, and with his heir, who is his son, that is the ruler of Tyr, right? And so, and I forget his name off the top of my head, but at any rate, so yeah, there can be some infighting in the empire itself. So maybe that's why the orcs have peeled off to become Drudge loyalists. But at any rate, this adventure features one such band of Drudge loyalists, and this band works actually in well, there's actually a couple. There's a Drudge loyalist faction in the city of Foundry, and they caught wind of the um, Iron Titans that were being delivered to the Empire. So they have hatched this plan to sabotage the shipment that's going to. Um, I think it was going to be delivered to Sixton. I forget exactly where the shipment was going, but either Sixton, well, yeah, probably to Sixton, because I don't think there's a rail that goes all the way to Cakerus. I could be wrong about that, but at any rate, I know that they're putting the plan was to put I believe 8 Iron Titans onto a train and ship them to the south. Okay, that was the plan. And these orc loyalists to Drudge caught wind of this, and so they hatched their own plan to um, sabotage the shipment and to steal what they can, steal what Iron Titans they can for Drudge's cause, right? And so that's what that happens in Foundry. So then there's a faction of Drudge loyalists that are near where the ambush site is going to be. And so those Drudge loyalists, they are working together essentially. So they hatch this plan to ambush the train by Mirror Lake. And we'll say it's kind of halfway between Foundry and say Uh, wow, I'm totally drawing a blank. Okay, this is what happens when you get old, people. Of course, the city in this campaign is what again? It is good grief, crossings. Good God, holy shit, my brain's going to hell. Okay, anyway, yeah. So halfway between Foundry and Crossings, the ambush site occurs. So it's also near a town called Crowsfoot. And then there's some orc caves somewhat to the southeast of the ambush site. Okay, so you got a little map here that illustrates all this. All right, in Foundry, the faction of orcs there is led by an orc called Stinkfist. Okay, there is an engineer called Igor Ironsun who survives the ambush and makes his way back to Foundry. So, what happens is that at some point the characters are asked to investigate what happened to the shipment and try to recover any of the Iron Titans that are possible. Now, this can come from the council in Crossings by means of the provincial governor in Sixton, or it can come directly from the provincial governor in Sixton. Now that we have a Sixton supplement coming up, you could actually, have a connection there. But however you choose to involve the characters, and it doesn't tell you how to involve the characters, incidentally, you have to come up with that on your own. You can, you have to, get them involved to do the investigation. There's many ways you can approach this, and I did it, like I said, I did a little bit differently than it's written here. But this adventure assumes that you are going to send your characters to Foundry, and from there they can meet up with Igor Ironson, and Igor can give them the information. He was the only survivor that made it back to Foundry, so he can give them the information. There's some bullet points here that of information that can be shared with the PCs. So the PCs can go after the orc loyalists in Foundry. There's information here about that, and there's a group of 15 orcs that are led by Stinkfist. And that is all of this section right here. So the PCs can go after them if they want to, or they can just go investigate the crash site. So the name of the train was the Emperor's Fury, and it was again sabotaged and attacked here in a area very close to the Mirror Lake. So the train tracks were like right nearby the Mirror Lake because part of the train actually went into the lake. So the PCs at some point are going to have to travel south to the ambush site. And from the ambush site, they discover the wreckage of the train, and they can see that part of the train is down here in Mirror Lake. So they can investigate the wreckage, and you can see all the information about the ambush site and the wreckage here. One thing you need to point out to them is that they do see signs of creatures that have also taken interest in this ambush site and the wreckage, and that there are 3 drakes here to make that investigation interesting. Then you have the wreckage, and they can go investigate that. By investigating, they do find out that there were 2 flatbed cars that were dragged to the shore. The canvas and ropes that once covered them shredded and shattered or scattered on the ground. And there are lots of tracks. Some of those tracks are massive from some massive creature that leads off to the east. The tracks lead towards Crow's Foot, which is that town over here. And let's see what else. So they can investigate that. But then there's another set of identical tracks that head off south towards the Drudge Loyalist camp. Which, of course, they don't know it's the Drudge Loyalist camp, but that's where it is. So there's 2 different routes that the PCs can take. They can take the route to Crow's Foot, which is one leg of the adventure, or they can go directly to the Drudge Loyalist camp, which is the next leg, which are detailed on the next 2 pages. So this is a 4-page adventure. So super long adventure. This is going to take sessions to complete. Or you can just shorten it to a faster adventure, which is what I did. Okay, so on the next 2 pages, you have a few things detailed. So you have troglodyte caves. The drakes aren't the only creatures feeding on the dead. Several dark caves worm the cliff below the waterline, leading to warrens housing nearly 100 troglodytes. At night, the troglodytes emerge from the caves to loot the wreckage. If any of the characters camp on the shore near the wreck site, 1d6 troglodytes, including one with the leader role and one with the veteran role, come out of the water to attack. All right, so this is a possible thing that can happen, depending on how long the PCs stay in the wreckage site. So keep in mind, so like I said, okay, so Mirror Lake is in the lower part of the Northern Reach. So the Northern Reach, this section of the Northern Reach has 2 elevations, right? There is the lower elevation, which is where Mirror Lake is, and the higher elevation, which is where foundry is, which is where the railroad tracks are, and that's where the train was. But like I said, the train tracks are very close to the edge of this drop. I forget what the name of the drop is. But and then there's Mirror Lake, and then the lower elevation down there that has well, the map makes it look like Crow's Foot is on the upper elevation. You know what? Now I'm a little bit concerned because now it makes it look like the Mirror Lake is on the same level as the railroad tracks, which shouldn't be because Mirror Lake is on the lower elevation. But I don't think the railroad tracks are on the lower elevation. What the hell am I doing? Come on, Roll20. I was wanting to get to my map. Yes, yes. Come on. I'm trying to get to my Northern Reach map so that I can confirm for myself that the Mirror Lake is on the lower portion of the map. Come on, come on. Here we go. Okay, I'm doing this in Roll20 because it's faster to get there. I have this set up in Forge as well, but I like how I have it set up here in Roll20. Okay, so yeah, Mirror Lake is on the lower portion of this, the two tiers of the Northern Reach. So here's Foundry and here's Crossing. So the railroad tracks would be like leaving Foundry, going south, and in order for it to, the train to fall into or near Mirror Lake, the tracks have to actually hug this drop. So I would say that it would happen somewhere around here. Because there needs to be some land down here, and around, well, there has to be a little bit of land because they pull the wreckage out of Mirror Lake onto the shore, so there has to be some shore over here. So I would say, anywhere along here would be fine, but you need to find a place on whatever map of the Northern Reach you're using to determine where this happened. So again, if I were to run this again, it would be right around here somewhere. Anyway, so that is where it happens. So Mirror Lake is on the lower level. So what I would do is I would have Crow's Foot be like down here somewhere, like right on the edge of Mirror Lake, maybe a couple miles away, maybe 3 or 4 miles away or something like that. Put it like right over here. And then have the other tracks leading back up the drop to the orc caves. Or all of this could happen in the lower thing, and the orc caves could actually be along the cliff somewhere. In fact, that's probably how I'd do it. Now, when I ran this, I assumed that everything happened on the upper tier because I wasn't quite sure how the orcs would get the Iron Titans from the lower tier to the upper tier, because that's like a 1,000-foot drop or something like that. It's not an insignificant drop. So they basically have to march along until they found some paths leading up to the upper. So anyway, I didn't mess with that. I just had the orcs find an Iron Titan on the upper level with the wreckage up there, and the orc caves were somewhere over here. But again, you can do it however you want to. I don't think it's described very clearly in the adventure on where all that is, so you'll have to kind of figure out how to situate that. But at any rate, this gives you a rudimentary idea, but you can kind of come up with your own way of placing all of these things that makes sense to your map. Okay, So getting back to this, so you have troglodyte caves. Those again, I would put on the, well, it says it's actually in Mirror Lake, so I guess troglodytes would, okay, so I guess, yeah, the caves worm into the cliff below the water line, leading to warrens housing nearly 100 troglodytes. So I guess the entrances are below the water. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you can have the troglodytes come out of the lake, or you can have troglodytes come out of the cliffs. You know, there's plenty of places where troglodytes could come. The point is that there's 100 troglodytes that are potentially a problem for the PCs, but 3d6 of them will definitely come out if they choose to camp there. All right, so Crowsfoot, that's the one branch of the adventure. So there are tracks leading to Crowsfoot. If the PCs are, while the PCs are investigating the wreckage, they hear an explosion. That explosion is coming from Crowsfoot, and they see the tracks that lead to Crowsfoot. So they could investigate Crowsfoot right then and there. If they do, then they find the orcs and the Iron Titan that are basically attacking the town, and that is illustrated right here. The Iron Titan has blown up several houses, while the orcs drag people from the wreckage and chop them up with axes. So that's what happens if they investigate immediately. If they don't investigate immediately, what happens is that there is a faction of cultists, which I'm going to say are the Brotherhood of Shadows cultists. It doesn't specify that here. It just says a group of 13 cultists lives here because this town is corrupt as fuck. They are, while the orcs are attacking, they are summoning a large demon. So 10 minutes after the attack, or 10 minutes after the PCs appear, at some point this large demon is going to come forth and start attacking everything. Orcs, villagers, adventurers, Iron Titans. The demon gives no craps about who it's going to fight or fuck. So if the PCs go investigate immediately, they fight an Iron Titan, 8 orcs, and then potentially a large demon. If they wait and investigate later, then they find the ruins of the town, the Iron Titan torn apart, and then the demon is kind of hiding in the rubble, or the demon could have left and could cause them problems later on if you want to do it that way. Okay, so that is one leg of the adventure. It really doesn't lead anywhere because they can't salvage the Iron Titan, and really the only thing they're going to get out of this is some combat experience with the Orcs, Titan, and a large demon. Then the second leg of the adventure is the PCs going to the Loyalist camp. So at the Loyalist camp, they have one of the Iron Titans that they salvaged, and they also have a bunch of orcs. The leader of the orcs here is an orc by the name of, by the name of Grimfang, who's difficulty 50. And he also has a couple of bosses named Pig and Snout. Now, in addition to the orcs, they have 3 ogres. So there are 40 orcs, Pig and Snout, Grimfang, and 3 ogres that reside in these caves. Okay, so it actually looks like, now that I think about it, so it looks like these caves are situated along a river. Okay, so you got a river, you got caves along this cliffside here, then you got some forest over here. So the forest, I believe, is where the Iron Titan is sitting. I think that's what that symbol indicates. Because they can't get the Iron Titan in the actual warrens here. And so the PCs the PCs would potentially, well, depending on how they approach this, you can set it up, showing them the map here and how they want to approach it. They know the orcs are in these caves. There's a bridge crossing the caves. There's some guards, and then you can have them approach directly and go in here first, and then discover the Iron Titan out here, or they can discover the Iron Titan first, and maybe potentially use it against the orcs. But at any rate, the Iron Titan is situated out here. And I need to verify that because that's how I ran it, but I don't remember why I ran it that way. Yeah, here it is. I knew I didn't make that up on my own. Okay, so the Iron Titan. The orcs have left their second Iron Titan in these woods with instructions to attack any creature approaching the caves except orcs or those under orc escort. Okay, so that is a potential encounter out here in the woods. So if you're having the PCs just kind of trying to sneak up to the orcs and they happen upon the Iron Titan, then the Iron Titan can attack them. That's not how I ran it, but I'll get to that here in a bit. But eventually they'll need to get to the rebels and clear out this nest of orcs. That at that point it just becomes infiltration. Get in there and just start fighting. You got 40 orcs to deal with, but you are master tier characters now, so you should probably be, at least 8th level by this point. So yeah, you should be able to kick 40 orcs' ass. The 3 ogres might make it a little bit difficult, but yeah, I would still use some tactics and try to not, fight all 40 orcs at the same time. But at any rate, the PCs can figure out how they want to approach this. That's their job. Your job is just to present this, and give them hints as to ways they can maybe tackle the problem. But ultimately, it's their idea. It'll have to be their ideas how to approach it. They don't know the Iron Titan's out here in the forest unless they come upon it. So they may be assuming that the second Iron Titan is in one of these caves. Or they may know that, or they may come upon the Iron Titan out here, but they want to attack the orcs first. There's, like I said, many ways that you can approach this. So here's what I did. So I didn't want to spend too many sessions in this adventure. So what I did was, instead of having my PCs go to Foundry to investigate, I just said I had the council at Crossings hire them, because the leaders of Foundry sent a missive to the council that a shipment was coming and has not arrived yet in Sixton, or the missive could have come from Sixton. It probably came from Sixton. And so the council needs somebody to investigate what happened to the shipment. So the PCs would be hired to go to the tracks and just follow the tracks until they see signs of the train. And so they are instructed to start going north first, and then if they don't find anything, then go south towards Sixton. So that's what they do, and that's how they find the wreckage. That's how they find the tracks and all that stuff. I also didn't have the first leg of the adventure of them going to Crowsfoot. I skipped that part. I had it so that the orcs had only been able to get one Iron Titan out of the wreckage, and so the PCs were instructed to salvage as many Iron Titans as they can. So they follow the tracks to the orcs' cave to get the Iron Titan, and so the other thing I did was that I changed the Iron Titan from a construct to a giant clockwork creature. The reason I did this is because a construct is basically a robot, right? It's programmed a certain way and it follows orders, and you can't really reason with a construct. But you can reason with a clockwork, because a clockwork is a living creature. So I thought it would be more interesting if the the clockwork were standing out here in the woods, and the PCs would have an opportunity to um, reason with it, right? So that is what I did. And so there was this big fight, and they were trying to get to the key in the clockwork's back. And so they're climbing all over during this fight. They're climbing all over this Iron Titan. Some of them were trying to get behind them, the Iron Titan, so that they can get to where the key is housed. And it was a very fun fight because it wasn't just kill the Titan, because they wanted to salvage the Titan. They didn't want to destroy it. And the only way to salvage it was to pull its key out. And so that's pretty much what that encounter was. And then they went and dealt with the orcs later, after they managed to get the Titan secured. And so that's how I presented, and that was it. I think we did it in 1 or 2 sessions. If I'd included the crow's foot stuff, that would have been a whole nother session, at least maybe 2 more. And by this point, I was trying to get to the last few adventures in this campaign, because I wanted to get back to the main storyline. So that's how I approached it. Now, again, you can do this however you want to do it. There's lots of different ways. This doesn't force you to take any specific direction. Um, but you can you can do it any way you want to. That's just how I chose to approach this adventure. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and by the end of it, your PCs will potentially have a mech at their disposal, at least for a little bit until they return it to crossings. Or they could be selfish and just hide the mech out themselves and say that there were no survivors, and all the mechs were destroyed. Now, of course, eventually somebody's going to send other people to investigate the wreckage, and if they don't find the parts for eight of these Iron Titans, then of course the PCs get in trouble. But that's months down the line. Don't worry about that right now. In the meantime, you could have an Iron Titan at your disposal if your GM is cool like I was. But actually, my PCs, they did the right thing, and they returned the Iron Titan to crossings to the council. And that's good, because I had a secondary storyline going along with this campaign. And the secondary storyline involved King Drudge, or Emperor Drudge, wanting to secure the northern reach. And so he sent a legion of orcs into the northern reach. And I kind of presaged this at the beginning of the campaign. And Sixton has already been sacked by this legion, and now there are orcs marching towards crossings. And so I kind of reinforced this throughout the campaign. And so crossings needs, they have their own militia, but not anything to be able to deal with a legion of orcs. So an Iron Titan would come in real handy. And so the PCs were able to bring that Iron Titan to crossings to help bolster the city's defenses. And so that's how my adventure turned out, and it was quite fun. Okay, that's it as far as Off the Rails. Again, very fun adventure. You got trains, you got demons, you got mechs. What's not to love about this adventure? All right, so that's it as far as this video goes. I want to thank you all for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you want to buy some of my tokens, I have, now I don't have an Iron Titan token. I actually purchased a token set for Iron Titans. But I do have troglodytes. I don't have orcs because I just use normal orcs. Anyway, for this adventure, my tokens wouldn't really help out that much. So, not a great adventure to plug my virtual tabletop tokens. But there are plenty of my tokens that would work for the overarching adventure path. So if you are interested in using some of those, and go to the Roll20 marketplace. show you here. Go to the marketplace, go to browse, type in DMNL, and voila, you have all 8 of my token sets. And what do I have here? I have such things as, well, you know, of course I have some stuff that works for D&D, like beholders, gibbering mouther. Oh, here's an alien. What's that doing there? You know, a dragon, you know, vampire, mandible vampire. That's my own thing. What is this? This is an Anubis. That would help. That would be a great token to have if you are doing adventures along the desolation. There's another desolation type creature. Oh, if you are running the Queen of Gold, there's a shark man that you can use. This is kind of an earth elemental thing. There's a merman that you could use. But at any rate, things that would be good for Tales of the Demon Lord. Let's see, we've got an ogre, we've got horned ogre, in fact. We've got, let's see, yeah, we've got, what are these guys called? The harvesters. We've got a harvester here. We've got a ghostly choir. We've got the hoods right there. And of course, these are the only things that are on the actual cover of these sets. I have many more creatures that are. There's a flayed one. We have some ghosts. You know. Anyway, lots of stuff that you can use for your Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign. There's a hobgoblin. I love the hobgoblins. They all look the same, and I think I have a couple of versions of hobgoblins. Pretty funny. Anyway, those are my token sets, and so good for D&D, good for Shadow of the Demon Lord, good for Shadow of the Weird Wizard. So I got 8 sets. I should probably work on another set or 2 sometime, but haven't gotten around to it. Anyway, there you go. I believe I'm the only guy supporting Shadow of the Demon Lord with actual tokens that tie into the official monsters of the game. At least I think I am. We're going to roll with it until somebody proves me wrong. All right, so that's it. I'm done with this video. I have life, so I'm going to get back to it. Thanks for watching, and hail to the Demon Lord. How do I